And what we do is we do research on how to build businesses. And then we take that research and we get in the trenches and build the businesses that you all are waiting to invest in. Where's Connecticut Innovations? Okay, you've had Pisces in front of you before, do you know that?
No.
You did, okay. You said no, but you know what happened? In the last 6 months, we've gotten $12 million in sales contracts. Now, who here is from Connecticut? We've got a state rep. Who else is here from Connecticut? We love Connecticut. How about a company that's got $12 million in sales contracts, Akita? So this is Connecticut Startup, it's Connecticut Sustainable Agriculture, it's Connecticut Manufacturing, and Connecticut Exporting. Are you ready to chip in now?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We hope so. We hope you'll give them a second look because, you know, maybe you missed something the first time, right? But this is what we do. We get in the trenches with the technologists and help them build the business. Not like some other phony incubator or accelerator. I'm sorry to call them phony, but a lot of them are. It's more, they base it on selection effects. All they do is try to get them financing. Getting financing is a means to an end. That's not business building. A business is when you have people, when you're selling something and people are buying it. And we stick with the startup project until that happens. We actually help them get customers. We go with them on sales calls. We actually help them build a supply chain. We actually help them get financing. We actually help them write the grants. Okay? We sweat it out with them. We're real venture builders. One of the things we specialize in is internationalization. So I got my first taste of this, and I got my first taste of sociology when I started my first company. And it was international entrepreneurship. So international entrepreneurship is when day one your company has multinational operations, right? So this was day two. Day one we had multinational operations. And we had to figure out how to set up and operate in Jordan. I was 24. Okay. And we had on our board MBAs. I don't mean to knock MBAs. I am a professor at a business school, and the MBA program, you know, actually doesn't make as much money. But, okay, so we had MBAs, and then we had sociologists. At the time, I was not a sociologist. I did Middle Eastern Studies in Arabic. I lived in Peru for 2 years, right, learned Spanish. Then I moved to Egypt for a while, like 6 months, right? So at this point, I knew Arabic and Spanish, but I was never a sociologist. But we had two different types of advice. The MBAs were like, okay, we gotta go operate in Jordan. So let's look at the national government. There's a Ministry of International Cooperation, right? And then you all know the old moniker, all of you who went to business school, get to know the secretary of the CEO. That's always the best way to get inside. So they're like, here's the secretary of the minister. Let's try to reach out to her first. It didn't work. Then you have the sociologists who are like, no, bro. What you've got to do is you've got to go sit out in the middle of fucking nowhere, a mile from the Syrian border, with these Bedouin sheikhs in tents and camels. And we're like, that's weird, but I was young and dumb. And sometimes, a lot of times, young and dumb is actually an asset as an entrepreneur. We were young and dumb and we were like, all right, let's go with it. So we spent months, I swear to God, 3 miles from the Syrian border, in these bait sharks. And next thing you know, we were up and running with a legal license in Connecticut in office space. And we had large organizations, I'm talking large, billion-dollar organizations, knocking on our door and say, what the hell, you young idiots, how the hell did you get your business license to operate in Connecticut before us? I'll tell you why. Because most of them ignore fucking power structure. Basic power structure. You assume that the power structure all over the world functions like in America. And you're fooled when you go to a place like Jordan because you only go to Amman. You never leave Amman. And you're fooled by the city's western veneer. So you fall into the trap. Oftentimes, as a business person and a startup founder, I've seen it happen over and over again, by assuming that the power structure and networks in this country function just like ours, and they don't. So what's missing so often, because we all have desires for our Silicon Valley textile ecosystem, what's missing is you never involve organizational sociologists, even though we have decades of research that shows that if you want to spur technology commercialization, you don't put in more technical advice, you put in more management advice. In fact, it makes it go 2 to 3 times faster when you give them more management advice. Not finance advice, not technical advice, management advice. And what we're about to show is it also goes fantastically faster when you merge it with global studies. People who understand power structure, people who understand international market opportunities, people who speak the different languages. We have, right now today, 2 of our ventures are led by people who are not American. Like literally do not have American citizenship. Marvin is Mexican. He does not have American. I'm not saying he's Mexican-American or that he was born in Mexico but now has American citizenship. He is Mexican. Right? Uber is Australian. But you grew up in Pakistan until when? 16. Another one of our startups who's in here right now, the co-founder is Algerian. Not Algerian-American, Algerian. His co-founder is Jewish. It's AI. It's international, right? What we focus on is, so we talked about the structure. We focus on 3 key verticals, AI and computing. So we've got 4 companies in this vertical. We do agriculture, waste, and sustainability. We have 2 companies in this vertical. They're both here today. You heard about Pisces Atlantic, and you're going to hear about applied bioplastics. And then we also have energy and transportation, and that includes aerospace, by the way. Right? We have a company that produces a more sustainable cockpit window. It's also more durable. You're going to love that. And then energy efficiency. You're going to hear from Marvin on that. I mentioned this. So we have a lab ethos in our venture builder. Our venture builders are called principal investigators. We emphasize experimentation. We experiment with building businesses around university research. We say to Dr. Zhao, if he's still here, you saw us, we were literally up here frothing at the mouth, right? Because we're like, gimme, we want to help you build a business around that. That's what we do. And each of them we usually do multi-year contracts with our startup projects. Contracts is probably a bad word, but we'll slap down anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 a year to get the business going. Global network. We dropped in, my team and I, we dropped into Iraq, Baghdad, Iraq, not Kurdistan, Iraq. A lot of people say they go to Iraq, but Kurdistan safe. We went Baghdad. None of us had ever been there before. We were staying overnight, but when we arrived to Baghdad at 7 a.m. in the morning, we had no place to stay that night. And we had school-sized backpack on. We didn't even have a change of clothes. We had like binders and computers in there.